Buckle up for a gripping ride as I delve into one of the most talked about and controversial events in modern history. The world was stunned when Princess Diana, the People's Princess, tragically lost her life in a horrific car accident in 1997. But what really happened that night in Paris? Was it a tragic accident, or was it a dark, sinister plot? In this episode, I bring you an exclusive supernatural peek into the events leading up to Diana's death. That's right, I'm talking psychic powers. Through channeling, automatic writing, and remote viewing, I'll reveal the shocking truths surrounding Diana's death that have been shrouded in mystery for oh so long. So, sit back, grab some popcorn, and get ready to hear the ugly truth behind the death of Princess Diana.
Those shocking allegations about Princess Diana's death. Authorities now reviewing the new and sensational claim that she was actually murdered by the British government. ABC's chief legal affairs anchor here with more on that, Dan Abrams. And Dan, talk about a conspiracy theory.
Oh, you had a team of people over there on motorbikes, designing, planning the whole operation, waiting with cars, etc. So the car would be driven down at speed, driven by motorbikes to get them at high speed, driven into the tunnel, and the strobe light then would be used to disorientate ordinary Paul. So you'd lose
Imagine
control.
the kind of conspiracy this would have had
Oh,
to
and
be
the number
to pull
of
all of this
people
off.
who would have had to be involved and to have not said anything for all this time is absurd.
But what does Scotland Yard really do? As you say, they're not calling it an investigation. They're saying they're just going to look at the scope of all this. What do they do?
Well, publicly and privately, they're doing two different things. Publicly, they have.
The year was 1981, and the world watched in awe as Lady Diana Spencer married Prince Charles in a grand ceremony fit for a queen. But little did anyone know, this young princess's life was about to take a dark and devastating turn. Barely a year later, Diana gave birth to her first son, William, cementing her place in the royal family as the mother of the future king. And just 2 years after that, she welcomed her second child, Prince Harry, the so-called spare to William's heir. What many people don't realize is that Diana's first child was naturally conceived with her husband, but the second child, Harry, was artificially conceived. By this time, Diana had already been struggling with her relationship to Prince Charles, and quite frankly, Charles wasn't interested in anything other than his royal duties. Once his first child was born, Charles considered his duty fulfilled, and he was off to pursue his relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, leaving Diana to fend for herself. Behind the public facade of the perfect royal couple lay a heartbreaking truth. Diana was struggling, desperately lonely and isolated, with no allies or friends within the palace walls. Even her own staff viewed her with disrespect, treating her like nothing more than a baby-making machine. And of course, the very sterile approach to conceiving her second child would leave any mother feeling detached from her own children. I know people won't want to hear this, but at first, Diana was not interested in her children. This was because Diana's battle with depression was a constant uphill battle. The inner turmoil she faced every day was almost too much to bear. She began to self-harm, searching for an escape from her pain. Her bulimia only added to her struggles. She was drowning, and no one seemed to notice. I mean, no one. In a famous BBC interview after her separation from Charles in 1995, Diana bared her soul to the world, revealing the demon she had been battling. Listen to what she had to say.
You'd wake up in the morning feeling you didn't want to get out of bed, you felt misunderstood, and just very, very low in yourself. Well, it gave everybody a wonderful new label. It's Diana's unstable, and Diana's mentally imbalanced. And unfortunately, that seems to have stuck on and off over the years.
What her public admission failed to reveal was that there was one nearly fatal suicide attempt with an overdose of pain pills prescribed to treat some painful after effects of her second round of childbirth. But fortunately, one of her maids found her in time and called for help, saving her life. This was a turning point for the young princess. Finally, there were people there to care for her and nurse her back to physical and mental health. As Diana began to heal, she had an epiphany. She would take a page out of Prince Charles's book and use the media to her advantage. But it wasn't easy. She was constantly pushed into the background, forced to play second fiddle to the Prince Charles show. But as her confidence grew, she began to shine. She was warm and approachable, unlike the cold and aloof royals who came before her. This was something new, and the public loved her. But as we can hear in this clip, the royals hated her for it.
Do you think you'll ever be queen?
No, I don't. No.
Why do you think that?
I'd like to be a queen of people's hearts, in people's hearts. But I don't see myself being queen of this country. I don't think many people would want me to be queen. Actually, when I say many people, I mean the establishment that I'm married into. Because they've decided that I'm a non-starter.
Why do you think they've decided that?
Because I do things differently. Because I don't go by a rule book. Because I lead from the heart, not the head. And albeit that's got me into trouble in my work, I understand that. But someone's got to go out there and love people and show it.
And do you think that because of the way you behave, that's precluded you effectively from becoming queen?
Yes, well, not precluded me, I wouldn't say that. I just don't think I have as many supporters in that environment than I did. Yeah.
You mean within the royal household?
They see me as a threat of some kind. And I'm here to do good. I'm not a destructive person.
Now, if you're curious about where the phrase "the people's princess" came from, I have to say it wasn't really organic. By now, Diana had managed to find some loyal advisors, and they helped her to create the phrase, which was then dripped into the media, and it took hold. What's interesting is that these same advisors warned Diana about going too far. As she stepped into the limelight, she was finally able to connect with the public and her children. But it wasn't easy. Diana struggled to find her footing as a mother, feeling trapped by the rigid protocol of the royal family. It was only with the help of her sister-in-law, Sarah Ferguson, or Fergie as she was called, that she was able to break free and form a loving relationship with her children. Diana followed her advice, and it worked. She became the loving mother that everyone loved and adored, and once again, the rigid monarchy gnashed their teeth. Years later, Meghan Markle would face a similar struggle, trapped by the institution's cold and clinical approach to child-rearing. The royal family's institutional barriers and rigid protocols stifled any sense of humanity, leaving both of these women feeling like prisoners. With this in mind, I can empathize with Meghan's desperation to get her son Archie out of that environment and into a real family life. In December of '92, the separation of Prince Charles and Princess Diana is announced by the British Prime Minister John Major. And what's interesting is that you can hear that Princess Diana would still have been in line to be queen with a public separation. However, just 4 years later, their divorce was finalized. Listen and make a mental note of the fact that some members of Parliament boo the fact that Diana would still be in line to be queen.
With permission, Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that Buckingham Palace are at this moment issuing the following statement. It reads as follows. It is announced from Buckingham Palace that with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate. Their Royal Highnesses have no plans to divorce, and their constitutional positions are unaffected. Their Royal Highnesses will continue to carry out full and separate programmes of public engagements and will from time to time attend family occasions and national events together. Madam Speaker, the House will wish to know that the decision to separate has no constitutional implications. The succession to the throne is unaffected by it. The children of the Prince and Princess retain their position in the line of succession, and there is no reason why the Princess of Wales should not be crowned Queen in due course. The Prince of Wales' succession as head of the Church of England is also unaffected. Neither the Prince nor the Princess is supported by the civil list, and this position will remain unchanged.
The love triangle between Prince Charles, Princess Diana, and Camilla Parker Bowles was no secret to the world, but many still wonder if Charles could or would have married his mistress if Diana was still alive. According to ABC News, while Charles could legally remarry after his divorce from Diana, he couldn't do it in the Anglican Church while she was still alive. Some even speculated that Charles had a hand in Diana's death. But I believe that the bigger issue was her public criticism of the monarchy, as well as her overshadowing public persona. But there was one person in particular who was outraged at Diana's behavior and wanted it all to stop, especially since it upset the Queen beyond measure. And that person was... Oh wait, I probably shouldn't say it here, but let me give you a little clue. This high-ranking royal had a very famous quote that goes something like this: "In the event that I am reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly virus to contribute something to solving overpopulation." You may be wondering whether the Queen had any insider information regarding the events mentioned. The answer is a resounding yes. It's difficult to imagine that she didn't know. And yes, she also knew about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle being cast out of public duty. The Queen really wanted Meghan out of the family. The old girl barely tolerated her. Do you see the parallels here? These things had to have her blessing, so let's not be naive. She was one of the world's most powerful women, not just a figurehead as many believe. And like mother, like son, Prince Charles carries on the tradition. Coming up, get ready to dive deeper into the inner workings and the future of the monarchy. You won't want to miss my predictions for Camilla Parker Bowles and the intriguing, albeit short-lived reigns of King Charles and Prince William. Keep watching and hit that notifications button so you don't miss out on any of these fun revelations. Trust me, there's always something new to learn. Thanks for listening.